All right, so this is just a spiritual talk on goddamn thoughts and feelings. Because a lot of us, or a lot of people in general, in this realm, in this society, think that they are their thoughts and feelings. They think they are the things that they've been thought. No, you have been just been thought to observe and have a particular perception, and we are wired into particular, rays of emotion based off the energy work that we have put on, right? Because once you're born into reality, that's a whole line of events, and that line of events includes certain energies that interjected with your field, because your mind takes in information, takes in emotions, takes in its surrounding information and stuff like that. And if the surrounding information around you was not necessarily information that actually, takes you within, then it's going to be information that is against you, and it's going to be information that doesn't make you enlightened. It's going to be information that makes you illuminated, aware of something externally, but you're not necessarily able to travel with that space just due to having trains of thoughts and feelings that put you into certain spaces, both logically and both speculatively, that don't even actually basically allow you to have your revelation, allow you to take experiences. Because spirits be wanting to give birth to new things, we wanted to create new experiences and stuff like that. But the thing is, we just be so deeply perceiving the life that we've been given, we'll be so deeply enrooted in the ways of the world and stuff like that. We think things have to play out in a particular way, aka even having sometimes particular logical frameworks that we go through, aka basically just overthinking, right? A lot of the times we'll take our left brain, our logic, and try to box out events, box out certain things that are not even in actuality. So we direct our thoughts and feelings towards things that are not even favorable by actually directing our thoughts and feelings to previous reference points which we have experienced, aka things like, traumas, which whatever events that you perceive, right? Certain people, are born in better positions based on previous shadow work that they've done, aka other lifetimes that they've been aware as a spirit, where they actually was aware and they didn't allow themselves to be ruled over by a system or anything like that. Because systems are not bad, but systems can be used against you in so many different ways. What are systems? Systems are all before us every day. We got politics, we got, because politics is a system of rules and laws and regulations and new bills that are introduced based on information. A lot of the information that we be fed, it be information to keep you docile. It be information to feed you, to keep you sheep. Down to even the food that we eat and shit like that. It be food to make a sheep. Stuff like fluoride inside of the water, and there's so many extensive lists that you can go down to even the vaccines that we used to get as young children and shit like that. That be stuff that mess up with our biology. That be stuff that mess up with our hormones, and just different variables inside of our body may fluctuate and create non-sustaining environments, aka cancer, aka mental diseases, right? Because a lot of the things that we experience as biological effects in our body be effects based on the thoughts and feelings that we have in the first place. So certain people develop cancers based on the things that they participate in, and that cancer don't even be like a random thing. It really just be based on certain things that you do, certain alchemies, certain ways we direct our thoughts and feelings, certain trains of subconscious awareness that we're consciously hallucinating in our everyday reality that we look at as normal, because that's the life that we have lived. And living is evil, so devil backward. It's basically living someone else's narrative, being unable to create your own narrative and stuff like that. So it's just basically being stuck in someone else's reality. And that's why we talk about systems and creating your own reality. But it all starts with creating our own mentality, our own sphere of awareness and stuff like that, rather than settling with these spheres of awareness that they give us. A lot of the times, the things that they give us to be aware of be like, and they project it through their different mediums of reality. And these emotions of fear, hate, anger, worry, stress permeate through the fabric of thoughts and feelings in the flesh of all people and mankind on earth. And these are things that they have planted throughout time, through just generationally cursed motherfuckers psychologically. What do you think? What do you think it means to put a spell on a motherfucker? What do you think it means to put a curse on a motherfucker? You can curse someone out so badly, you can even make them even feel bad for even talking to you. You can blackmail them, like all types of shit. Not from the perspective of I'm saying, oh, yo, you should gotta do that. In fact, I don't even condone that shit. That shit is like stupid. That shit is like insecurity, because the world should be coming together like based on harmony, based on us actually understanding ourselves and wanting to coexist with everyone else. But if the world itself is lost in these mental delusions, these spells, these curses, these insecurities, these vulnerabilities that really sprouted based on early starting points of childhood, but really, if you want to go deeper than that, it started in other lifetimes as well. Because for you to even be at the point where you don't have your own thought, you don't have your own feeling, that's what it means to be a non-player character. Not having your own perception, not having your own way of doing things. Think about when you see people in the realm of celebrities, or just people doing this, doing what I do, doing different things. That looks like something new that you've never seen before. So we bring down these new trains of thoughts and feelings based on how we direct our mind. That's how hypnotism works. That's how like movies work. Movies take you down to a luminary hall, and it's presenting you a start and a finish, and we actually think that that movie's real, down to even your mind reacting to motherfucking what's called a scary movie and shit like that, that put you in spaces of fear and stuff like that, right? So we gotta understand all these things, because all this is just made up from the perspective of, we just took our own speculative perspective, not us, really the shadow government, people that are directing the education systems, directing the scientific community, whatever that's under the education system, mathematics and stuff like that. Think about it in COVID, math, goddamn it, it's the scientific body of the world was used to direct a narrative that was actually hurtful towards humanity. And why are they even giving us these things if these things are not even really helping us? We have to go to the goddamn mechanic shop every day and update, goddamn it, these liquid fluids that they inject us with. What the fuck is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So at some point we gotta start asking questions, because they just be pimping people out. They just be like selling you stupid shit that nature provide you. Like, life is already has given us everything. It's like just having a new drug dealer on the block, and the new drug dealer on the block is like, yeah, you know what? We don't like, we don't, you know what I'm saying? It's raising prices, raising taxes. You ever have like a tyrant and shit like that? What you think the shadow government is? Tyrants. But they just do it more so based on insecurities, more so based on one frame of thought that they can't necessarily change. And it's like that one frame of thought has worked so many times in history. They don't, because you gotta understand, it's a soul group. It's a group of spirits traveling together. And them traveling together, they create the same thoughts and feelings. They spark the same positives and negatives and stuff like that. So think about the people you hang around with. Those people generally probably are into similar things. You wouldn't hang out with them if they wasn't like you in some type of way. If they didn't share your traumas, insecurities, or what you actually like to do. So they're like you in some kind of way. So it's a whole group of people. Just, it's a train of thought. But the people that we're dealing with now, that are descendants of those bloodlines, already have those systems. So they already have, like all the technology that we have released in public right now, for example, all these things are really just things that, the secret societies, the FBI, the CIA, all these intelligence agencies, all these governing bodies that you don't actually see underneath these flags of that you worship, the United States, or these different religious symbolisms, like different religious denominations and stuff that you worship. You gotta understand that all these things is the same shit. Someone is just coming on the block and setting up they block and programming your mind, because we're just like programmable matter. And sometimes when you put people in such a deep hole mentally, they will never want to get out. Think about it. If you're not a confident person, if you're not willing to take what you want, if you don't actually speak up for yourself, you're never going to be able to want these things. So if you put people underneath a spell, if you create a world that makes people divided internally, then people will also be divided externally. A divided house can't work. What keeps this divided house standing, that's called Earth, is the goddamn shadow government. But they basically just create different operations and shit like that to like psychologically mind fuck people. It's really actually messed up. It's really messed up. And it's like, they don't have any other way of doing it. They have to do it through these systems. They have to do it through like introducing laws that put you in fear. Get on the news talking about like warfare and like, yeah, we're gonna do this to this country and stuff like that. Think about it. All that just to put all of humankind in the four corners, goddammit. Humankind different colors of man, both mentally on their mind and how they generate with this temple, and god damn it, physically, externally. But people are lost in the exoteric illusion of things. People don't understand the esoteric things. Otherwise, the whole world would have already seen what's actually going on, basically, because all these are just illusions of frequencies and vibrations. But what they did was present you with an idea like, hey, the government is here to help. But how is the government here to help? You gotta like read the terms of conditions and shit like that, right? But man, it just gets so messed up to the point that like now have a society that's actually walking backwards. You have people that are actually, last time I checked, life forms are supposed to develop more intelligence, not retarded, not become more retarded. So how come in this society we got people becoming more retarded? You got people in all over the world, because you can identify as whatever you want to. You got people identifying as motherfucking dogs. People identifying as cats, playing fucking victims, sitting in the back like, oh, I have to. This is just how I feel. No, you feel like a victim. You feel like you can't change shit. You feel weak. That's why you do that type of self-defeating behavior. What kind of intelligent life form that actually has an intelligent mind that can connect A and B to a higher capacity, the information around it, sits down and says, yeah, today I want to act like a dog. Today I want to act like a cat. At that point, someone's got to be doing something, because that's not normal. Like, okay, maybe if you're just doing it for a play, or you're a kid. Okay, look, cool. But if you're doing that continuously, and that became a behavior in your life, okay, something is motherfucking wrong now. Because that's not something that, who even has time? And for people to even go and even buy, like, invest in that. Like, people actually buy costumes. Like, I think I saw on TikTok, there were people playing like furries and shit. Like, they call it furries now. So that shit is crazy. So, man, because I'm telling you, the mind is powerful. You can identify with anything you want to. You got men identifying as women. You got women identifying as men. But you gotta understand, it's reverse psychology based on exoteric shit. You gotta understand that, like, literally, the mind is so powerful. You can connect with, you can see, feel yourself, whatever you want to be. How do you even think you manifested yourself in this goddamn universe? How do you think you manifested your family? How do you think you manifested your train of thoughts and feelings? These are things that you already resonated with in some way, shape, or form for you to even get there and shit like that. So it's like, it's just crazy what's going on Earth right now, because like, it really spell out and tell you, goddamn, are we at the end? But people don't understand that it's not the end, it's not the apocalypse, the world's not looking scary, it's just a revelation, because there's a shedding off of something. Something is being uncovered and shit like that. But it's not uncovered as in, like, basically what I'm talking about is like, goddamn it, Abaddon is unleashed on the earth, the demonic gate is open. It's normal to be a demon in 2024. In fact, it's been normal to be a demon for a long time. Being a demon is just being a denomination and stuff like that. So you know how long has it been normalized to be a motherfucking demon in reality? You know how long people been playing out those trains of thoughts and feelings, these narratives, based on certain stuff that they just connect to emotionally, and they feel like that's their life, and they can't even separate from that feeling. They can't even do the shadow work to separate from that feeling. To see, damn, okay, that feeling is just a layer, it's just an awareness I created, and I accumulated that based on being in a certain space. And sometimes these awarenesses that we create based on being in a certain space can accumulate and spring off into other bad habits and shit like that, right? Because if you got like a bad habit, if you eat a lot, chances are that's a coping mechanism, and you're gonna eat more and shit like that. Now, whatever it is that people do and shit like that, whatever the shit be, it always springs off into more. Same shit with good habits. If you start taking care of yourself, start taking care of your mind, you start watching the subconscious gate of your mind as far as what's emerging there of thoughts and feelings. Because you gotta understand, you're dealing with elementals. These are elementals. These are periodic tables. These are things that we're going in and out of, and we're creating these shapes and forms and stuff like that. And we already have shapes and forms that we resonate with, but we just try to create new ones to go into, because we're always going into new bodies, incarnations, more intelligent bodies, hopefully. Not like more retarded bodies, like how people on this motherfucking earth be creating. Because if people go down this path, basically, when the world gets recreated again and shit like that, type of shit, depending on what timeline we end up going towards, because there's so many variables in this timeline, tomorrow people can just get out of all that bullshit and we can all actually get together, create proper terms and conditions, and not be so goddamn divided religiously, politically, or one person is a Republican, one person is a Democrat, one person is lost in their point of view, they can't see something else from their point of view, so basically they don't understand how energy work. And a lot of these politicians really just be actors put in place based on certain rituals that they're getting ready to do in that area and stuff like that. So none of these things happen by accidents. They got like plans on plans on plans on plans on plans on plans. But it just depends on how we react to those plans. Because when you show someone you're reacting differently to them, they can't do necessarily the same thing with you. And that goes at work with your boss. If your boss or your managers give you more hours, if you just react to what they're telling you differently, if you just show different signs, you create different thoughts and feelings that make you take what you want, because nobody's going to give you what you want. You got to take it. You could react differently and change the situation that used to play out. And that'd be a lot of the lives and the incarnations that people create. Even me. We all play out particular themes. There's a narrative going on in your life. And the faster you can pinpoint that narrative, the faster you can look at that narrative and attack that shit as far as, certain experiences, certain circumstances, situations we experience again and again and again and again and again, based on, and that's when things can spring off to new things, and those new things could be bad because it's really just a new ways to expand. It's a new way for that demonic feeling to expand, basically, is what I'm saying, right? So we just basically get to understand shadow work and just taking our awareness to new places, developing new trains of thoughts and feelings that allow us to engage with our biology, aka this version of the temple of God, this goddamn organs. All organs are just pretty much lands, and the more you're able to equalize your thoughts and feelings, the more you're able to create solutions for your problems. You're able to get out of these old circumstances and situations and actually fight the fight, aka that's you wrestling with God, because God is just looking at you however you're looking at yourself. So however you look at yourself is exactly what periodic table jump into you elemental wise, if that periodic table is good or bad. If you're in a depressed feeling, you're going to attract more depressed feelings. You might even attract more depressed people. Start doing drugs with depressed people. Start doing even more drugs with more depressed people. You see how it springs off to more offsprings based on us not being able to deal with emotions at their starting point, and then it accumulate into a big problem, the point that you got crackheads in the road. I mean, you could choose that life, you can do whatever you want to, but I don't think anybody consciously want to be a crackhead on the road, unless that's just what you're, it's got to be a reason why you're into that. It can't be like, hey, look, this is a world of rituals and spells. Ain't nothing impossible. Even a crackhead can be born into a next lifetime and be the next greatest thing since sliced bread, based on whatever chemistry they created with their mind, based on how they were observing things, based on what delusion they were in. It was like a strong delusion, because all you got on your mind is a delusion anyways. All you got on your mind is a form of logic that's made up based on someone else's speculation, and speculation is just based on our own relative position within space and time. And when it comes to objectivity, there's certain points that we can all unite in, as far as communication, making terms and conditions with each other, creating language to even come to agreement with each other, or practicality to be able to render the physical functionality of those things, like to the point that we create technologies of doors that we can walk into, chairs that we can sit. It's all types of shit that we create based on mental forms, based on everything around us is in the mental realm first before it comes down to the physical. You're telling me someone built a castle, but it was based on what? But it was based on their mentality and shit like that. You can't even do that if you don't think and feel a certain way. You can't even, that's like a place you have to get to mentally. You know what I'm saying? You have to be somewhere to do that mentally. You have to feel, you have to have a certain train of thoughts and feelings. If you feel like a peasant, you ain't gonna do none of that. But again, it's all just really witchcraft based on our own point of view. So it's up to you to formulate your mind in whatever configuration you want to, based on your relative position, and do the energy work and do the shadow work, and actually really put the time in. Changing your thoughts and feelings, which you've been aware of and which you've accumulated since childhood and previous lifetimes, is not easy, especially if it's, basically it's what you accumulated. I forgot what we wanted to say, but it's what you accumulated since multiple times. It's not that you're a body of those things. So if you got put in a religion where that religion made you hate yourself, because I was in that situation basically. You dislike yourself. You don't like what you see in the mirror type shit. Like, yeah, it's gonna take time to get out of those things, but you have to do these things both practically, left brain wise, and right brain wise. Left brain wise because it really just taps into the seven energy, being able to separate from things, being able to use your angelic nature and get rid of these desires that keep us there in the first place, so we can actually transmute ourselves. But again, this world is just fucking crazy. People lost their mind, and when people lose their mind in front of you, it's easier for you to lose your mind, but you got to be a strong spirit and protect your space and actually be enlightened. That's the point of this whole thing, not to get lost in the world and be enlightened and actually go within and be able to perceive for yourself what that form that someone else is showing you is, so you don't get lost in the light, aka what you're being privy to. Real shit.